Good evening, good evening, good evening. How was everyone? Come on in, come on in, come on in. Transparent just means that you're being open and honest, and you're free from deceit. Like, you being transparent, so there's no reason for you to lie about what's going on in your life. There's no reason for you to give anybody a lie or try to be deceitful to have somebody thinking something is the truth when it's really not. You know what I'm saying? So try to straight transparency brings the real and the rawness out of people, because we want people to understand that you all coming in. Went through something, and when you go through something, you know something, you grow into something, and you don't want people to think that their lives are in shambles or their lives have to stay hidden because of what they're going through. We don't want you to be shamed. We don't want you to be upset. We don't want you to go into hide because of what you do. But we just want you to understand that you're out here because people want to be able to understand you. They want to be able to see through you. Okay? So this is what transparency means. And this is where Friday Straight Transparency is going to go. That God is giving you the green light, because I believe it's the reason why He showed us. What we're not realizing is that we are continuously have our mind and our focus on what's life. Life be life, because they allow for conversation like that. They allowed me to be transparent like that so that they can give me truth. And whether I like the truth or not, it's the truth. You either gonna gravitate towards it or you gonna leave it where it's at. You know, one of the other things about being transparent is you got to understand your audience. Transparency ain't for everybody. It's not for everybody. So sometimes you just can't give the best parts of you because people won't understand. Go ahead and comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share. How y'all doing this fine evening? Welcome to Friday Straight Transparency, Season 3. We are in Episode 2. And today we're going to talk about the power of choice. The power of choice. Thank you for sharing this live. Y'all go ahead and hit the share button. Share it with your audience. Share it with those that may not know that we're on. Good evening to everybody that's coming on. Good evening, good evening. How are we on tonight? Listen, y'all. It wasn't no technical difficulty. Hey, Ms. Williams, how you doing? Hey, Carol, or anything like that. They just shut me down on Facebook. I had another profile that I had from 2015 that I was using. They shut that one down too. I don't care nothing about the enemy being mad. It is what it is. So we're gonna shoot from TikTok
we're gonna come from TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and we're gonna keep it moving. Why? Because we're not gonna worry about, you know, things. So listen up, y'all. Tonight's episode is talking about choice, the power of choice, because there's a whole lot of power in how we make our choices. And I like to come and be really raw and transparent. Friday Straight Transparency was a podcast that I started maybe 3 years ago. And I did 11, 12 episodes in the first season. I did 15 episodes in the second season. And now we're in the third season, bringing it back. And this season is the Unheard Sound. This season is for those who would necessarily not. This season is for the ones that we're gonna bring out the back. We're gonna bring from the back of the bus to the front. They're gonna come out the back. They're gonna stop being the person that can always Heidi Georgia Peach, thank you, sweetie. That's always helping out, but they got no voice. So I want to reveal the unheard sound in those who probably would never have been on a podcast, who have never been a guest on a show, because everybody has a voice. Everybody has gone through something. And I feel like everybody needs to be heard. I feel like there's transparency a little bit in everybody if you just open your mouth and you'll just tell your story. And everybody has a story. We all have a story. Thank you, Bree, for those gifts. Each and every last one of us have a story. We just have to tell that story. And the reason why we have to tell that story is because we don't know who's watching, and we don't know who needs to hear it. We don't know who's going to be blessed by it. We don't know who's going to change and shift from it. So it's important that we tell our story because we want other people to come out and tell theirs. So tonight we talk about the power of choice. And with the power of choice, we know that the power of choice is just the ability, hey, lady, Lalita, to make decisions that will shape your life and all the experiences. You can make a choice one day and it may not be the right choice. And that choice won't just have bearings on you, it'll have bearings on those everybody around you. It could be a burden for everybody around you, or it could have been bad for everybody around you, because sometimes most of the time our choices affect other people, not just us. I think 83% of the time our choices affect other people. And sometimes we make choices without acting, without thinking. Sometimes choices are made off a reaction. Choices are made out of emotions. Choices are made because we feel some kind of way. And we make these choices, and these choices can shape our life and our experiences, even if they're limited by external circumstances. So this type of power can be used to take charge of your journey, to align your actions with your values. You know, if you got values that you want to live by, choices can align with those values, and ultimately you'll be able to create a more fulfilling and meaningful life. So I was studying about the power of choice, and William Glasser, I like the way he put it. He said that individuals can only control themselves and their choices. And I feel like you can only control you in the choice that you make. You can't control the choice that somebody else has made, but you can be affected by a choice that someone else makes. You may not be able to control what I do, but you can be affected by what I do. You understand? So we have to be careful about the choices that we make, because right now, today, and let's get transparent, sometimes we make choices that affect our family and affect our children. The choices you made long time ago. Now y'all know I'm gonna dig in, because that's just what I do. Like the choice you made to sleep with the man you slept with to have a baby. And we know, especially those of us who are not with these daddies anymore, and these daddies not doing what they're supposed to do by these children, and they're not in these children's life for one reason or another. And I ain't down in daddies. I'm just saying choices. We make choices because the woman made a choice to be with the man, just like the man made a choice to create life with her. Sometimes we don't make the choice to create life. Sometimes we lay down and life makes the choice for us, because sometimes we didn't meet the y'all know how y'all be. I ain't meant to get pregnant and this and that, but you meant to have sex. You made the choice to have sex. So your pregnancy is the direct consequence, or might I say the direct result of the choice that you made. You sit around people and you choose to lie on somebody. Well, that choice that you just made is going to have a consequence. Why? Because now that choice is hurting somebody, but it's affecting everybody that's around you. You got a whole group of women or a whole group of men, and you got one person that lied on one person in the group, and now the entire group done fell apart because of the choice you made to lie. Choices hurt people. Choices affect people. Your choice can offend somebody. Never sit here, hey Zadie, how you doing? Blessings to you. Never sit here and say that it was my choice to make. It shouldn't be bothering anybody. It's my choice to make. The choice affects people. Rather, it affects me directly or indirectly. It affects other people. Your choice will affect somebody. If you choose not to have a baby because you say it's your body, well, your choice is the choice you make to not have that baby is going to affect that man, especially if he wants the baby. So we have to be careful about the choices that we make. And we got to stop being so impulsive, because you may choose to want to be with somebody. You may not, your choice may not be that you want to get married right then, but his may be that. Or his choice may not be that he want to get married, but yours may be that. Choices are powerful because they affect people around us. People don't like to talk about it, and people don't like to be real about it. But our parents made a choice to have kids and had us. Our fathers, our mothers, they make a choice. They made a choice every single day, whether they wanted to be in our lives or not. Some of these baby daddies, some of these mamas, y'all doing the same thing. Y'all making these choices, whether y'all want to be in these children's life, do right by these children, raise these children up the right way. Even some of us, y'all, the mamas that's mad with these men, you make the choice to not want the child to be in the daddy's life because the daddy ain't doing nothing for you, or because the daddy ain't doing nothing for the kid. My younger two kids' father, he couldn't be in my life. He didn't want to be in their life. You don't get to make that choice. What about them? The choice you're about to make is going to affect them. And it affected my son a lot. My daughter was upset, but my son had a problem with it because he loved his father. We're not allowed to make choices that are going to hurt other people. We should think about the choices that we make. I know you're grown. If I choose not to want to be around people, if I choose to want to do this, I should be able to do that. But just think about it. You've made friends with somebody. You had this person making sure that you are all right, calling you every day and checking in on you, staying up 4 o'clock in the morning, praying for you, all this and that. And then all of a sudden, you make the choice to not want to reach back out, to not want to respond anymore. Why do you not think that because you're going through something that is not affecting the person that was trying to help you through it? When you stop responding and when you stop allowing this person to check in on you, when you stop telling this person anything, you have made the choice for this person. You can't get mad if this person decides to walk away because of a choice you made. You don't get to be mad and say, well, it's my choice. It should have been that you should have just dealt with it, or you should have, I made the choice, so you shouldn't be mad with me because, after all, the choice was, I had to make the choice. It was, no. You made a choice that shut the door on the other person. You made a choice that locked the other person out. You made a choice that hurt the other person. But then we talk about choices. We talk about, you ain't paying my rent. You ain't paying my car note. You don't go to work for me. You don't do, you're welcome, Lady Dorian. You don't do this and you don't do that. But should it not affect me when you make your choice? Should I not be upset because you made a choice that was not my choice, but it affected me? Should I not be mad? Why should I not be mad because you made that choice? Why should I not be mad? Because you consciously pulled me into something. You made me sit there and think about it while you were going through it. You had me and my attention while you were going through, and then you chose to kick me out and stop responding to me. Now here it is, 2 months later, and I don't went on about my business because you ain't responding. You ain't calling. You ain't responding to text messages. And now you upset because I've moved on. Come on, people. Listen, I know we go through stuff. I understand we go through stuff. But if you're going to go through something by yourself, stay by yourself then. Go through it by yourself. Even that affects people. But don't pull somebody in so that you can shut the door in their face. Don't use people like that. That affects people. When you use them, you don't use them up. And now you back to 100%. So you don't forget they exist. We got to be careful with how we treat people when we make choices. Because your choices have to align with your values. What are your values? What are you teaching your children about values? Are you teaching your young ladies? I told y'all, let me get to the nitty gritty. Are we teaching our young babies and our young girls that it's okay to walk around half naked? You do know that's a choice. It's a choice. Y'all know I always talk about me. And I tell my girls all the time, if you wear that out the door, that's a choice that you're making. But I choose to let you know. See, here's the choice that I'm making. I choose to tell you what you face when you walk over that threshold, dress the way you want to dress. Because, yeah, it's the truth is what? The new millennium, and people could dress how they want to dress, and nobody should tell people how to dress. And if I want to walk out the door in booty shorts, I can. If I want to, I know somebody will argue that down and somebody will debate that. But I'm going to tell you like this. We got young ladies out there who men are touching and are looking at, even women with young boys and all this and that. And we're saying that we have no right to judge what they wear. We don't. But as for my daughters, because I know what's out there, because I know that there are grown men who still like little girls, because I know this, I'm going to warn them. If you make that choice, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of that choice. Should you be able to go out like that? You should. But I don't think you're going to be safe. Not if you go around the wrong people. We want to be able to dress the way we want to. We want to make the choice to be able to dress the way we want to dress. But then we get mad when people look at when somebody looking at us because they like the way we look and what we got on. Choices we making. It's the truth anyhow. Y'all can debate it all you want. It's the truth. It's a fried straight transparency episode. I don't care how you feel. It's the truth. A lot of people don't want to talk about the truth. These are choices. All these things are choices that we make. If I make the conscious decision to go outside my house, and I'm a pastor, and you would think, but if I make the conscious choice to go outside my house, and I got on something provocative, and I'm a whole pastor, I made that choice. So now I can say, hey, I should be, I'm a grown woman. I can walk out however I want to walk out, which I really can. But that doesn't mean that the rest of the Christians ain't gonna talk about me. That don't mean that they ain't gonna say, look at the pastor now. Look what the pastor got on today. That don't mean people ain't gonna talk. That's all I'm saying. Your choices, one way or the other, are gonna affect somebody. It's a shame, but they do. So all I'm saying is, if you carry yourself right, you won't have to listen. They say if you know that it's something that if you can predict something's gonna happen, or if you can see it coming, then try to go the other route about it. Because I'm gonna dress how I want to dress, but I'm gonna dress like how I'm a pastor. Okay, I'm not gonna put it out there for you. Even if I'm a wife, if I'm single, I'm just not gonna put it out there. I know what kind of world we live in. It's cynical. But they were cruel, judgmental. So these are the topics that we need to be talking about because some people need to be set in their place. Y'all need to understand a part of raising your child is their well-being and their safety. Choices. You made the choice to bring a life into this world. You got to make the choice to take care of that life for real, for real. I am sorry, but this is why we got these mismatched marriages and they don't last long. And we got people jumping in marriages and out of marriages because y'all, you letting them dress any kind of way and they going out there and they seeing and men seeing what they like and they testing the water before time. And now when they get married, don't nobody like each other because they got married too fast. And oh, that's a butterfly. Jesus, who did that? Deacon Alpha, I'm gonna need you to stop doing stuff like that. Oh, something was in my chest now. Y'all just don't pay no attention to that. So don't laugh at me, breathe. I told my chest, I'm just Lord have mercy. Y'all gotta stop with these gifts. That was a blooper. Lord have mercy. I can't start over, but it's okay. It's okay. Lord have mercy. Woo! All right. So that's a choice. That was just a choice. She said that butterfly made me dead. It did. Woo! All right, Deacon, I'll stop doing that now. So what we have to do is we have to understand there's power in choices. Let me watch this. And I know a lot of people, I know y'all say one thing ain't got nothing to do with the other one, but watch this. Even God presented choices to us. He said he is, right? He gave us choice, life or death. So he presents these choices in terms of their ultimate outcomes. Life, death, blessing, curse, good and evil. Do you choose to be good or do you choose to be evil? These are choices. That the choice between good and evil is the central thing. It only emphasizes moral responsibility. Watch this. Disobedience and obedience. It's a choice. Either you're gonna obey or you're gonna be disobedient. Just like we obey our Father, it's the same thing in our house. You're gonna either obey your parents or you're gonna disobey them. Okay? The choice to obey or disobey God's commandments have clear consequences. Just like if you do it at home, you have clear consequences of the choices that we make. That's why making choices are powerful. So watch this. Watch this. And Deacon Arthur, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane on this one now. Adam and Eve. I ain't gonna say his choice because it wasn't just him. But their choice to disobey God's command in the Garden of Eden resulted in sin and consequences for humanity. Did it not? What they did affected humanity. Thank you, Nick. It affected humanity. What they did brought sin into this world. Those were the direct consequences we suffer from today. One choice, way back when, in the Garden of Eden, got us where we at in 2025. One choice. And we sit back and we say that we should be able to do whatever we want to do. When you're under the direct authority of someone, our parents, God, the person that he gave authority over us, you're either you're gonna make the choice to do right, or you're gonna make the choice to do wrong. Whatever's more in ethnic to you. Joshua and the Israelites. Joshua challenged the people to choose this day whom they'll serve. That was Joshua 24:15. Said, but if you refuse to serve the Lord, then choose today whom you will serve. Would you prefer the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates? Or will it be the gods of the Amorites in whose land you now live? But as for me and my family, we're going to serve the Lord. Is that not what Joshua said to the people? That's what he said. Ruth had a choice. She made a conscious decision to follow Naomi. Because she followed Naomi, she was able to meet Lord have mercy, Boaz. Because she chose to follow Naomi, she got a chance to feel and to represent Naomi's God, our God. But her choice to follow Naomi were direct consequences of choosing loyalty and devotion, which is teaching us still today how to be loyal and how to be devoted. Daniel made a choice to abstain from the king's meat. He didn't eat the king's meat. He didn't drink what the king, what they drank. He didn't do none of that. He chose to follow God, and he chose not to go out before God. His decision carried weight because the decision that he made caused him to be saved. His decision that he made showed his commitment to God. Joseph's brothers, they chose to sell Joseph into slavery, remember? So because they chose to sell Joseph into slavery, what were the direct consequences? How does that affect us today? Jealousy in our families, malice in our families, because God is taking one higher than the other, or because one is going in one direction and is in another. But either way you see it, jealousy and malice. Then he turned around with the choice that they made, and he made a choice to save them anyways. After what they did to him. David made that choice to commit adultery, remember? He made a choice to commit adultery and murder the husband of Bathsheba. What were the consequences of that choice? Lust and sin. All I'm saying to y'all is our choices that we make may not have anything to do with anybody else up close and personal, but that does not mean that it won't affect somebody. We got to be sure that we make the right choices in our lives, especially when we have people attached to us. You can't just be any kind of way and make any kind of choice when you are teaching God's people. You can't just be any kind of way when you're teaching God's people. You'll start confusing people by the choices you're making. You make a choice consciously to be a leader, but then as a leader, you doing all this folly and jealousy, and you're doing all this gossiping and slandering people's names, and the sheep following you because they think it's right. Now, when you tell them that it's not right, instead of you saying I was wrong, you telling them that they was wrong. They doing what you did because of the choice you made. You made the choice. So they following up behind you and your choice. When our children and start to the generational curses start to fall on our children, and our children start doing the same things we found ourselves doing, it's because of the choices that we've made. We made these choices, and our children are following up behind the same things, the same choices that we made. So you laid up with a whole bunch of men. You always had men in your house, and now your daughter doing the same thing. The choice you made trickled down. Now she thinks it's okay to do the same thing because of a choice you made. What we have to realize is that our choices carry weight. Our choices carry weight. In Deuteronomy chapter 30, 15 through 20, it was talking about the choice between life and death, with the choice of life involving loving God, obeying his commandments, and clinging to him. Some of us need to obey God. Some of us need to obey his commandments. Some of us need to cling to him. Pastor Douglas, how you doing? Moses' final words highlighted the most important decision of following God's commandment. And then he said, it led up to, and I'm paraphrasing, that that obedience led, our obedience to God leads to prosperity and to blessings, while your disobedience leads to exile, leads to death, leads to stress, leads to curses. So he said, choose this day who we're going to serve. That's the ultimate choice we ought to be making. We ought to be choosing whom we're going to serve. Because if we make the choice to serve God, we make the choice to go through and to stand even in the face of our adversaries, even in the face of trials and tribulations, even in the face of the most chaotic storms. Why? Because we know that God is going to carry us. We know that God is going to be for us. We know that when the enemy comes, he's going to raise up a standard against the enemy on our behalf. We know that if the enemy comes for us, he's going to send for them. But you got to make a choice today. I know this is a podcast, but this podcast ain't like a normal podcast. I'm going to bring you truth. That's all I'm going to do. However I can get it across, I'm going to bring God's truth to his people. Because even in this podcast, I expect God to do some great things. I expect people to be transformed in the renewing of their mindset. I expect people to come out from amongst them, separate from those things that are choosing not to serve God, which are the direct consequences of death and sin. Those are the ones that he said that we need to come out from around. Because if you're around them, that means you condone what they do. I make the conscious decision to not sit around what I know I'm gonna have. I know I'm gonna have a problem. I know I'm gonna have a problem because I gotta tell you, you're wrong. I would expect somebody to do the same thing for me. Everybody think because you're a leader in a church and you're a preacher, you're a pastor, apostle, bishop, that we're gonna always get it right. Y'all do know that we still human, right? So we still have to make the choice to be right before God. We have the same choice you all have. I have a choice. Either I can keep going or either I can tap out. I choose not to tap out because God has been good to me. My choice is always going to be him. My choice is always going to be God. Because if I make the choice to serve God, then what's going to flow from my choice is that those who are following me are going to see it and they're going to follow God as well. But not only follow God, they're going to follow my exampleship. I pray at 5 a.m. They get up at 5 a.m. And I have to say I'm proud of them. They be at 5 a.m. They be ready. I fast. They fast. I read, study. They read and study. We do Bible study. We do homework. You got to be the first partaker in what you imparting. You got to be the first partaker in what you want others to follow. If you're not doing it, how do you expect somebody else to do it? So when it come out of your mouth and you telling them that they have the choice, make sure you understand they know the consequences of the choice, because consequences come whether you're right or wrong. But if you make the wrong choice, you can offend and you can affect somebody else, whether you grown or not. There ain't nothing wrong with being grown and knowing that you do this by yourself and you don't need nobody else. You don't need nobody else to tell you nothing. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But always remember, just because you think it's nothing wrong with it doesn't mean it's not affecting them. Just because you don't think nothing wrong with it doesn't mean that it's not affecting them. What happens when you make a decision for somebody and that decision costs them a piece of their own life, costs them something that they held dear to them? Then what? Because of a decision and a choice you made. The choices that the Israelites, us as Israelites, make today are going to affect our descendants. That's what you call intergenerational impact. They're going to affect our descendants. What we do today will affect our descendants. And it's going to determine the future of our nations. Not this nation, but the nations that we birth. Our choices affect our nations. We have to be careful with how we make choices today, because for the future of our descendants, it depends on it. That's why your choice is a very important part of somebody else's life. Your choice is a very important part of your children's life. Your parents' choices they made should have been important to your life. Some of our parents chose not to go to school. They chose not to finish for whatever reason. And I can't knock it, because some of them couldn't afford it or couldn't go, whatever reason it was. But they didn't make the choice to push it on us. Their choice was to say, well, I ain't go. And look at me, I'm smart. So that don't mean you gotta go. Until that child get out there and he's 21 years old and he learns now that he can't get a job just no anywhere. He can only work flipping burgers. Because you told him he didn't have to go to school. Because you told him he didn't have to go to college. Because you told him that he had to pick up a trade. You told him he didn't need to go get a GED. That you became smart, but you forgot to tell him that you inherited. I'm just saying, it varies, but these are just some examples of how our choices can be detrimental to the future, our future descendants, our children, and then our children's children, and then our children's children's children. How you breaking the generational curse if you're not making the right choices? The reason why our children still going through the same thing our parents went through and that we went through is because we ain't tried to break the generational curse. We still making the same choices over and over, thinking we're going to get a different result. And if you're making the same choice, there can be no different result. You got to switch up how you make the choice. If you said yes yesterday, say no today. Make the choice to do right so that they can be right. Make the choice to do right so they can be right. That's the power of choice. The power of choice. Today will mean something tomorrow. The power of your choice today will mean something tomorrow. Because as with anything, you got to make the decision. But that decision is going to have to shape the lives and the experiences of those around us and those to come and those who are in our generations to come, the next generation to come. So far, we see what choices have done. Because we got a generation of what they call them, Z and Y, that's unaliving each other and leaving this world before the baby bloomers, before Generation X, before the millenniums. And they're not supposed to be preceding us in death. Impossible, but not impossible. So this has been a Friday Street Transparency. Episode 2. The power of choice is going to benefit somebody's future. So whatever you choose to do today, know that it's going to affect somebody's tomorrow. I love y'all. Thanks for sticking with me. Peace.